Because while we've been upgrading the machines, we've been downgrading our humanity. And this is existential because our problems are going up. Climate change, inequality, our ability and need to agree with each other and see the world the same way and have critical thoughts and discourse is only going up. But our capacity to do that is going down because of human downgrading. So we're going the wrong way. This is overpowering human nature, and this is checkmate on humanity.
Hello, my name is Lynn, and I am the host of Checkmate Humanity, the podcast. The voice you just heard was that of Tristan Harris. You may recognize him from the Emmy Award-winning Netflix documentary, The Social Dilemma, which opened up the eyes of millions of people to the impact of social media on our daily lives. On this podcast, I expound on the ideas from The Social Dilemma through the lens of current news, true crime, and cultural events. Please join me, and together, let's figure this thing out. Hello. Welcome to episode 9 of the Checkmate Humanity podcast. Thank you for joining me. I have an interview to present to you today, but it's a very different kind of interview, and I want to give you a little pretext before going into this interview. You know, most of us live in this place called the United States of America, which was founded on the principles of free speech and freedom of expression. But today we have somebody who is literally in hiding and afraid to say who she is or who she's affiliated with or say anything that could identify her in the eyes of the people that she's afraid of. And why is this person afraid? Because she stated an opinion. Because she stated an opinion that a group of people don't like. They don't want her out there stating that opinion. So they have drummed her into her personal silence. They have drummed her into a place where if she wants to say anything, she has to do it under the cloak of protectiveness. She has to trust someone like me not to reveal her identity, to be protective of who she is so that they don't continue to go after her. That's the environment that we have on social media, especially YouTube. Because in YouTube, there are so many more tools with which to harass people, to bash them, to make them feel bad. The tools go across the platform, and it's an immersive gang up experience where you mostly discover people according to the channels that they participate in and affiliate with rather than these people as individuals and all of the things that they're interested in and all the things that they think. You know, I can have a personal opinion about a friend and be a friend of another person without fear of recourse. But on social media, it isn't just that someone states their opinion and then people express that they do or don't like that opinion and they move on, which is more like the experience in real life. On social media, when you express an opinion that a certain type of person doesn't like, you will become the subject of harassment until they're done with you, until they decide that they're done. And the harassment doesn't stop on social media. It bleeds into real life. It affects people's ability to sleep, ability to function, ability to feel safe and protected. On social media, there is no such thing as being safe and protected. So the rules of the game have changed. There needs to almost be an entirely new constitution just for the social media world that we all live in, so that we can all understand the rules. And then whatever authority there is over that constitution needs to enforce that. But we aren't subject of, a country of laws. We're subject of platforms that have policies that are about them making money. They aren't about protecting us. They are about them making money. That is in conflict with our right to privacy and right to freedom of speech. When the people who are willing to cross the line over into non-protected speech in order to intimidate and harass and make another person's life miserable, We aren't all free. The only people who are free are the ones who are willing to go the hardest and do the worst. That's why the bad guy wins. So this interview I'm about to present to you is with someone from Watts Island. She's a subscriber. She has been subscribers to many large channels. No channels that are named in this interview are the ones that have harassed her or put her into hiding. And if she were to identify anything about herself that channel or those channels that have harassed her would be able to connect with her, they would continue to make her life miserable. And they may even still try to make her life miserable by trying to guess who this person is. And based on their assumptions of who she is, without any proof or knowledge for sure, they will harass her. That is the environment we are in right now. So I want you to listen to this interview, listen to the words that she says, understand that she has to be cagey so that people don't know who she is. And as you listen to that, think about, is that the kind of life that you want to have in this social media environment? Is this right? Is this the way it should be? And if you don't think it's the way it should be, start saying something about it. The platforms can't retaliate against you the way a single creator will retaliate against you. They are subject to laws that will prevent them from retaliating on you. When you see something, say something. If you have to do it anonymously, do it. Unfortunately, that's the environment that we're in right now. But people shouldn't have to go into hiding just because they've expressed an opinion that another person didn't like. What you will hear is me ask a question in my voice, and then you will hear a computer-generated voice reading off the answers to the questions. I'm doing this to, again, conceal her identity. So let's take a listen, and I'll see you on the other side. How long have you been interested in true crime?
John Benet was a big one, and then learning about VISE since John Benet Ramsey. I remember all the media attention surrounding it and wanting to know more.
Is there a particular case that sparked your interest? If so, which one and why is that?
John Benet was a big one, and then learning about the Zodiac Killer got me hooked. It was not as easy to follow crime cases back then. For example, I was sad about Kurt Cobain's death and looked for anything I could about him. A friend's brother unalived himself after Kurt did because Kurt was his hero. A private detective, Tom Grant, was hired by Courtney Love to find him, but he wound up being found deceased. Tom suspected Courtney was involved and started a website to document his investigation. It sucked me right in and I was hooked.
How'd you become interested in the Watts case?
I read about it online and then saw Chris give his porch interview. It was obvious to anyone watching he was lying. The absolute horror of the case caught my attention and I wanted to know what would drive a person to do something so awful. I didn't want to believe it.
How many channels did you follow around the Watts case? Which channels were your favorites?
I followed True Crime Rocket first and Armchair Detective. I didn't know many creators and they didn't hold my attention. Then found Jay is for Justice and a few others.
What was your experience like on social media before following the Watts case?
I just used social media to follow friends and family and followed different news stations. I was active in cooking groups and true crime groups on Facebook for a long time.
What has your experience been like on social media since following the Watts case? Is it different?
The Watts case changed my views of making friends with strangers. I was very trusting before and now I am not. I learned how easy it is for people to stab you in the back and not care. I did not know there would be people who doxxcd for fun. I've done meetups with internet friends in the past, but I don't think I'd participate in any anymore.
You've asked to remain anonymous and unidentifiable. Why is that?
Because there are people out there who want to hurt anyone who does not agree with their point of view. There's too many people on social media just looking to gather information and use it to intimidate and threaten.
Can you talk about any particular experiences following the Watts case that caused you to conceal your identity?
I watched subscribers and creators deal with swatting and CPS calls. They had their photos passed around and background checks done. They had family and jobs contacted. Private information is made public. They stalk and harass the people they don't like. It's scary.
If you could relive your Watts case experience on social media, what would you do differently?
I would remain completely anonymous from the start and not try to make friends. I would run at the first red flags from creators instead of making excuses for them.
Do you regret anything you've done?
I regret friendships and getting to know certain people. I regret making excuses. They turned out to be not who I thought they were. I also wish I tried standing up and speaking out without fear of the harassment and stalking.
If you have children, how has this experience changed the way that you'll approach discussing and monitoring your child's social media engagement?
I definitely don't want any of my kids talking to strangers online. I don't want them to have social media at all, but I'd rather they not sneak. I want them to feel safe and know they can talk to me about what they're doing. You just never know who is out there. There are so many predators on the internet, it has made me cynical of anyone I come across. I definitely believe parents should monitor their minor children online and know what accounts they have.
Have you had positive experiences following the Watts case? If so, please tell us what they are.
I found good channels, like Yulin. I've learned so much about how this sick side of YouTube works. Learning all of that is a positive. It helped me to see how clicks, views, and popularity are more important than victims and their families.
What's the most positive experience you've had on Watts Island?
Seeing certain channels for who they really are.
What's the worst thing you've witnessed on Watts Island?
Harassment and bullying by so many. One of the worst is how a couple males treat women and other women join in and laugh. They get a free pass to say the grossest things about anyone they want. If those women are laughing to keep themselves safe, I hope they realize they can get away. You don't have to participate. You keep all of this going by giving them an audience. The more people who come together to say no, the better it will be. I hope the #MeToo movement would have joined women together. Instead, the women help these males bully other women. But I don't think we've seen the worst. I think the absolute worst is on the way, because everyone tries to one-up each other. I think some people are going to end up in jail, hurt, or both.
How did any of your personal experiences or the ones you witnessed affect your personal life?
I lost sleep. It caused anxiety and diet changes. It made me scared of what they do to me. It causes so much paranoia. This stuff goes on behind the scenes all night long. You feel like you have to take part so they don't come after you. You can't trust anyone, and most are just looking for something to screenshot and share. A certain few are more like cult leaders than creators. It's non-stop.
If someone came to you right now and said that they were planning to become more involved in the Watts case or just in true crime in general, what advice would you give them?
Run far away. If they want to be involved in true crime, I tell them to protect themselves and focus on victims. It's obvious certain creators only care about manipulation and popularity and not sending a message.
Is there anything else you'd like to make sure the audience knows?
If you are wrapped up in this stuff, please get away. Make something up if you have to. Get away from it. It has gone too far and it's escalating. The ones who won't stop talking about all of this publicly are the ones with something to hide. They keep this circus running to prevent people from seeing what is really happening. Those making videos, trolling, and talking bad about other creators and subs publicly all the time are the people running the show. They're creating the drama, and we all feed into it by watching it and participating.
Thank you for listening. And again, please remember that this is not the way it should be. This person should be able to come out with her full face and her full name and her being and be this honest and forthright without fear of retribution, harassment that is enabled and encouraged in many ways by YouTube and these platforms. And I want to thank this person for agreeing to do this interview. It's a very brave thing to do, even though we didn't really even reveal anything specific that happened to her, because we can't. Because if she did, they would know who she is. And they would use that as a excuse to put the full force of their retaliation on her. And let me tell you, I've been part of that retaliation on YouTube, and it's ugly. So I really thank this person for putting her trust in me. And if you have any questions about this interview or about anything else regarding Watts Island or social media, please send me an email at checkmatehumanity@gmail.com. Please subscribe, like on YouTube. Please download and subscribe as a podcast user. And remember that you never know what's going on in someone's private life, so just don't make it worse for them, okay? Thanks again for listening, and have a great day.